You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just call me. Just call me. Just call me. Just call me.
I'm doing great. Looking forward to this one. Love Talladega. Love the ARCA car. I think we're in for a great show.
Yeah, definitely in for a great show here at Talladega. It's going to be 130 laps of door banging, not really beating and banging, but fender to fender action. I expect we'll see a lot of 3 wide here as we see the 48 car just finishing up his qualifying run. Doesn't look like anybody else is going to be taken to the track, but so far 22 drivers have put down qualifying times with just a few moments here left in qualifying. While we have a moment, we'll go ahead and pull up the race info. It's a cool 78 degrees right now. The track temperature is going to be a little bit hotter at about, well, quite a bit hotter actually, 109 degrees. So that'll probably help people, not help, but they'll be slipping and sliding a good amount. And it'll help us enjoy this action. But 2 2/3 miles, the biggest super speedway in all of NASCAR, and running these Gen 4 cars, it's not going to be as easy to bump draft as you could say in the trucks or Xfinity cars.
Well, it won't be easy to bump draft at all, but still looking forward to it. And this guy should have a lot of fun pack racing.
Yes, we certainly will. These ARCA cars have a phenomenal package. They hold the draft fairly well, and like I said, you should be able to see some 3 wide moves going on pretty early. But let's go ahead and take a moment and look through your starting lineup. Got Patrick Rochadell on the pole, with Brandon Dennis following him, Greg Snellgrove, Eli Raposa, Richard Clements Sr., and Jonathan Leach rounding out the first 3 rows. Got Dylan Canova, Jeffrey Mathis, Todd Martin, Blair Russell, Mark Lapierre, and Terry Mellum rounding out this first page here.
Starting in 13th is going to be Paul Ems. To his outside is going to be Kevin Weiss. 15th is going to be Trenton Murphy with Chris Tidy in 16th. 17th is going to be Johnny James. 18th, Thomas Geyer. Nolan Gross is going to be starting 19th with Matt Metler to his outside 20th. Michael Hicks will start 21st and Perry Gammon 22nd. Deontay Hewler 23rd and Reggie Jensen will start 24th.
And as we get to round out the field here, Brian Skidmore in 25th, Ryland Neerman in 26th, 27th is Louis Altamiller, and 28th I'm seeing Ronnie Derrick. Blake Vandenboom has gotten onto the racetrack. We see Tyler McRae, Alexander Balderas, Maria Scarpello, and Robert Harding have not joined the racetrack yet, but we are still got a couple seconds left here before the pace car rolls off. Patrick Rochdale, though, in that 74 Ford Performance Ford, is going to be rolling off on the first spot here. That's got to be feeling pretty good, especially given the field size here, right, Josh?
Yeah, but one thing I have learned is that you're not safe, even starting on the pole here at Talladega. It's a great starting position, but you still can be caught up in mayhem.
Yes, of course, and mayhem is definitely something that we expect when we come to Talladega. Some people look forward to it, some people are just trying to stay out of it, but the big one is going to be a turn that you're going to hear quite a bit tonight, and like you mentioned, you are not safe in the lead. We've seen plenty of times, whether it be in the NASCAR Cup Series, Xfinity Series, or just in Coke races on iRacing. You get in a bad spot, you get a bad bump, it doesn't really matter where you are. You could get yourself turned and take out a bunch of cars with you. We do have 5 fast repairs in this race, so would expect a little bit of aggression early on, but as we get things going and start getting some laps down, I'd imagine we'll probably get some longer stretches here.
Yeah, I'm definitely pretty excited to see how these guys are going to attack it. Who's going to be the ones that seem to be taking it to calm the beginning. Looking for who may drop to the back and just save their car, save those fast repairs, and hope that they don't need them. Be interesting to see who has what strategy tonight, and looking forward to this.
Yeah, Josh, what's generally your strategy when you find yourself in a longer plate race like this? Are you one to try to go for the front, or do you like to drop back?
I find it easier to dodge wrecks if I'm ahead of them. I like to be up front, and a lot of times it doesn't work out, but sometimes it does.
See, I find myself on the opposite end of that deal. I tend to stay in the back, wait for things to kind of get out of my way, let people tear their stuff up, and try to find myself there at the end. Those are just 2 ways to try to get through this 130-lap Christopher O'Shields Memorial Race here at Talladega. But tell you what, with 28 guys, they're going to have to figure out more than 2. Getting up through the tri-oval here, headed to the restart zone. Tell you what, man, 130 laps. This is going to be fantastic racing action here on iRacing, here on the Sim Racing Media Network. Gear it up. Green flag is in the air by the starter, and these guys getting away all right. A better push on the inside lane so far as you see the 5 car able to stay a little bit closer to the 74. It's going to push Patrick Rochdale to the lead, but the 95, Brandon Dennis, not going away. Still about a car length separating him and the 30 car behind him.
I think that was a great start there out of Brandon Dennis, just not able to get the move to the bottom. That outside lane is kind of dying down early on.
Looked like the 5 there, or 14 on the iRacing timing, but that's the Kyle Busch car of Greg Snellgrove. He was looking to the inside of the 74 of Rochdale. Didn't quite have enough, but now he's looking down to the inside as Rochdale goes to try to block the outside's momentum. The 95 looks towards the middle, but that's going to open the door for Greg Snellgrove to try to lead lap number 1. 3 wide action already now.
I'm going to say they didn't like that move of trying to block both lanes, especially on lap 1.
I wonder if that might be a calculated risk by the 74 to try to drop to the back. But I'm not sure, as now the 5 gets moved up a little bit. Here comes Richard Clement Sr. down to the bottom to take the lead. He ran the most laps in practice, so he's going to be the most familiar with this setup, with this track temp, with all these things going on. He's getting a big push from that number 70, Dylan Canova. These guys keeping it clean and green throughout the first couple of laps so far. The back of the pack kind of separating a little bit, but the stragglers sticking just close enough to the draft as to where they can still kind of pounce if something happens.
One thing I like is these guys, they are racing double wide, but they're not really trying to get the side draft down on the bottom. We see 3 wide there up top. A couple of guys trying that up there.
Yeah, there's that 5. We saw Greg Snellgrove lead the first lap, and he's dropping back as well. So now Jonathan Leach trying to defend from the 95 of Brandon Dennis. He's got a nice run and nice push from that 30. Eli Raposa up on the top side. We'll see if they can make any room or make any momentum through the 3rd and 4th turn. Mostly double wide action so far. Not seeing much for 3 wide as we look kind of towards the middle to the back of this pack. A lot of things settling out so far and seeing some spaces between these cars. It's good, courteous driving so far early on, especially in one of the toughest parts here in the Tri-Oval.
Yeah, and the guys that are on the outside, too, they're not really right up against each other, trying to push either. Giving a lot of room here.
And a little bit of a moment there as these guys stacked up just a touch. Some 3 wide action going on now. You see that number 76 Cinnamon Toast Crunch car of Michael Hicks sitting on the bottom of that 3 wide deal with the 9 and 198. That's Perry Gammon and Deontay Hewer. Patrick Rocherdale sits 25th, your pole sitter, but the leader still Richard Clement Sr. as they do start to get a little bit more 3 wide. You see that 5, Greg Snellgrove, trying to take whatever runs he can get. And kind of close to the doors there in the Tri-Oval. That's got to upset the car.
Nobody is going with him, though. Eventually, I think he will start to fade
the 8
back.
and the 5 get together just a little bit. 5's up in the wall. He's going to hold it up there. Snellgrove stays up on the wall there. Just a little bit of contact between the 5 and the 8 up front. And, well, we've seen that, but probably 15 years ago. Looks like Snellgrove is able to recover with minimal damage, but he might lose the draft here as he tries to get back up to speed. You see back up front, Clement still leads. Brandon Dennis trying to get that outside, or middle lane rather, rolling. Eli Raposa been pushing him pretty hard. Hasn't left that back bumper yet.
That bottom lane is just so strong. Right now,
yeah, Dylan Canova he's not left the back bumper of that 6 for pretty much the entire time that we've looked at him. Going through the straightaways, he's almost jacking him up, just about on his bumper. I mean, you couldn't make it any more picture perfect without lifting his back tires up off the ground. And now you see the 30 of Raposa trying the same thing. He's got a little bit of separation between him and the 21 Todd Martin, that next car on the outside, but going to need a little bit more help than that as you see these guys kind of moving around, trying to take what they can towards the back. The 20 comes down across the 1 to get down into the bottom. Chris Tidy lets him down, and followed by the 2 of Blair Russell getting down to the bottom. You see Jeffrey Matheson, the 8, made that little bit of contact with the 5 of Snellgrove before. It didn't seem to hurt the 8 very much. I believe that might have just been a little bit of netcode between the 2, but it seemed like they kind of hooked together, and then the 5 went up the track. Wasn't much he could do. Here's the 27 backing out of the middle of the field there. It's Terry Mellum. Decides, I don't want any part of this right now. I'm going to jump to the back here and save my car.
that's one of the things I was talking about as far as strategy. You have seen a couple of guys go towards the back. And
look at this outside, getting a nice run here. Brandon Dennis trying to come up and lead a lap with a huge push from the 30 of Raposa. That time across the line, it was Dennis.
that was a great push there. get Dennis to the lead that lap. But a huge push from the bottom. Getting Clement back out to the lead.
Yeah, starting to see some 3 wide back there. You see Jeffrey Mathis pushing the middle. 21 up on the outside. Todd Martin falling back, but doesn't look like that's on purpose. He's trying to lean down, get a little bit more draft out for these guys so he doesn't lose too much time. But nobody's going with him. You see that Bud 8 kind of looking towards the top side behind him, but not quite committed yet. These guys fanning out almost 4 wide, getting down into turn 1. It looked like it, but
I don't expect to see too much 3 wide early on.
oh, we got one in the wall back there. Looked to be the 76 or not quite sure, but everybody stays straight here. We look towards the back of the field. Potentially Trenton Murphy with oh, and there he is up in the wall again. It was the 76 of apologize, I'm not quite sure who that is. That's that Cinnamon Toast Crunch car we were talking about earlier, though. He's staying up top now, trying to find his way back. Michael Hicks, my bad there. Trying to stay with the draft here, following that 33 Lewis Altamiller. So we jump back up to the front. It looks like the 70 wants to make a move down low. Is there enough of a lane? Not quite, but a huge push up top. That's going to put Brandon Dennis into the lead. He's going to come down and clear.
That'll be interesting to see what Richard Clement can do. See if he tries to go back for the lead or if he's just comfortable sitting low behind Brandon Dennis.
Yeah, we'll have to see, but that's an eye-opener for some of these guys, seeing how the outside lane can get that big push and get you down in front. It seems like it's going to take a lot of work to make that move happen. It might take a lap or 2 to set it up, but it's definitely possible. And so now you see the 6 of Clement jumping up to the top to try to take that lead back.
I'm not so sure if he wanted to do that.
Oh, we got a spin down the back straightaway. The 16's around. Rylan Nerman was involved. Doesn't seem to have brought out the caution, but Johnny James was caught up in that too. It looks like he got turned by the 65 and heavy contact to the inside wall. The 16 as well gets sent off the track. Oh yeah, he just got bumped. Checking up for that. Is able to keep it up off the wall, but 2 cars caught up in a crash here early.
And we are under yellow flag.
As the caution has come out for that incident down the back straightaway. Looking around to see if there's been any other incidents, but all right, so that brings out our first caution of the race. I was just checking around to see if we had anything else happen, but the incident between the 25 and the 24 and the 16 also getting spun around brings out our first caution of the race. That 24 will likely have to use his first fast repair. But the 16 of Rylan Neerman should be okay. Didn't hit anything there. Well, Josh, we made it 11 laps without a caution yet, and well, now we've got our first one. What are you thinking we're going to see on pit lane?
I think these guys are going to pit, get fuel in their cars, and maybe take 2 tires or no tires.
We'll have to see. This track is very warm, but it's pretty early on in this thing, and well, there's not going to be much for fall off. Be interesting to see if handling becomes a factor later on in a fuel run, but yeah, I agree with you. I expect to see a pretty busy pit road here. This puts you into the window of being able to make it 2 stops if it were to go green the whole way. Looks like most everybody's coming in. Let's go ahead and take a look at this beautiful camera angle presented by iRacing. Watch these guys make the hard lefts into their pit stalls. See who comes in, maybe takes 2 tires. See who takes 4. Looks like the 6, Clement, had to back up to make his pit stop. That's going to potentially cost him a few spots. Looks like some guys taking fuel only here. Check out this race up off the pit lane, and here comes the stampede. Everybody, so we've got 5 guys that have stayed out here. I think the first 4 took fuel only, and then we've got a mix of 2 and 4 tires after the fact.
A lot of different strategy here.
That's what we love to see. And the first car to stay out, that's Jonathan Leach. Well, he works with us here at SRM, so see if we can't bring him up into the booth here. Hey, Jonathan, it's Liam and Josh up in the booth. You got a copy?
Hey guys, I do have you. How's it going?
Not too bad. We just saw an amazing first 11 laps of racing. What did you see from your perspective? You were kind of up at the front for most of that.
I think it was a little bit more wild than I would have preferred. You can also, these cars are already really touchy and twitchy to begin with. And when you're up there 2 and 3 wide, it makes a lot of turbulent air around the car. It makes these guys kind of hard to handle. But really kudos job to the guys up front, because I mean, we're 3 wide a couple times and we were all kind of staying on our lanes. But the racing's fun. It's a lot of fun. Definitely more fun than the next gen cars, I think, in my opinion.
Yeah, you talk about how wild it is, and you know, we've got these older cars, this kind of old school racing. How do you feel about we've got single file restarts and there is no yellow line rule? How do you think that's going to add into the
Well,
show?
that influenced me not pitting so that I could start up front to see what it's like to be up front and hold the lead for a little bit. I also believe that I want to be the 3rd place car on the last lap, because that yellow line is going to peekaboo somebody when they cross underneath it to win the race.
Sure thing. Well, appreciate you jumping up in here with us. We'll go ahead and bring you back in there, but yeah, best of luck on this next run, and we'll hopefully talk to you later.
All right, sounds good, guys. Look forward to seeing what happens. Enjoy the show.
All right, that was Jonathan Leach. Stayed out, took the lead, was running up front. Somebody else I want to bring up here, Thomas Johnson in this 34 car. He's up 31 spots off the start. He did stay out. He's one of these guys that hasn't made a pit stop yet, but huge gains made by him. He's our biggest mover so far.
Definitely interested to see what he will do here, if he wants to go back to the back or stay up front.
And I don't know that we, I don't know if we mentioned it before. We brought it up talking to Jonathan there. We do have single file restarts, and there is no yellow line rule. So of course it's kind of bringing us back to the pre-2000, 2001 days of plate racing, where you might see somebody make a daring move down the back straightaway into a corner, and maybe it doesn't work. We'll have to see though. We've got 115 laps to go at the restart. Just over 300 miles total distance for this race, and just under 300 now to go. Actually, I think we're about 312.
I'm excited to see these single file restarts as well. Not used to seeing them too much.
Yeah, we see a little bit of separation after about 7th place. There's the 95 Brandon Dennis running it right up next to the wall. Of course, the rule on these single file restarts is you can't pass to the inside until after the finish line. Waiting to the Geico restart zone. Green flag is out. You see how these guys start to fan out already. We got one guy slow on the start. He might have missed a shift. That's Blake Vandenboom. He's trying to get down to the bottom. The 38 is slow off of the restart here. And we've got more contact up in front of him. It looks like Chris Tidy, or maybe just in front of him, somebody got set down to the bottom. But a lot of runs and a lot of differences in restarts there. It can't have helped that Blake Vandenboom had a bad restart here. He's able to recover. He must have just missed a shift, but doesn't look like any terminal damage, as these packs have definitely split up. We got a crash up front. Big, huge crash. That's taken out a lot of guys. The 8, the Taco Bell car is involved. The 21 of Todd Martin. Brandon Dennis was caught up in that. That was a huge one. The Bud 8 you see caught up. The 33.
A lot of cars taken out in that one.
Let's try to go back and see. We know Dennis was up front of the cars that had pitted. I apologize there. That was... Oh, man. Looks like the 21 maybe thought he was clear. It comes down, hooks the 8. As they come down the track, there's just nowhere for anyone to go.
Yeah, it was very unfortunate for everybody else involved. Just piling up in there. It looked like it was only going to be 2 cars, turned into a whole lot of them.
Right on board here with the 95s. It all just comes down in front of him. Nowhere to go. And everybody behind him pretty much in the same boat as it all just comes down. So that's definitely going to take some fast repairs away from some guys, and definitely not what you want to see at the beginning of one of these races, but thank goodness we do have those fast repairs. So those 20 cars, or not 20, those multiple cars caught up in that crash are not out of this race.
That's the nice thing about fast repairs. Just immediately get your damage fixed, go right back out there.
Well, we've got 17 laps complete now. Can't imagine we're going to see much for differing strategies. We've got a lot of guys came into pit to fix that damage, but talk about fuel strategies. These guys can go about 40 to 44 laps on a tank of gas. So like I said, we are in a range where we can make it on 2 stops, and it probably won't be much of a fuel mileage game unless people try to short pit and set up their own packs towards the end. But well, let's see if we can pull in Thomas Geyer. He was caught up in that crash. We'll see if we can maybe get an idea of what he saw. Hey Thomas, it's Josh and Liam up in the booth. How you doing?
Doing good.
Good, good. We saw that that huge crash. You unfortunately got caught up in there. What happened in front of you?
To be honest, I really don't know. It was it just happened so quick. I was looking in my rear view mirror to make sure that the guy behind me was in line, and when I looked up, there was a huge wreck, and fortunately we got through it. I thought we hit somebody, but we didn't.
Well, we definitely saw you in the middle of that minefield. I thought you got a piece of it. So no fast repair had to be taken there?
No, not for me. I seen there was 2 A cars out here today as well.
Yeah, I think all three of you guys might have got caught up in that one, but it looks like we're getting the 1 to green here. So
Yeah, no, I don't have any damage from it. I asked one of the guys out there. They said I didn't, so I'm good.
well, fantastic news to hear out of that Bud 8 camp. We'll go ahead and send you back to General here as we get ready for the restart. Thanks for talking with us.
Yes, thank you guys.
That was Thomas Geyer in the Bud 8. We saw him in the middle of that junkyard down in the middle of turns 3 and 4, but no damage on the 8. No fast repair needed. Definitely going to be good news for him.
Definitely good news.
Well, we'll take another crack at this restart here. Single file was definitely exciting that first time around with the missed shifts and different lines being taken. You see everybody fan out. Thomas Johnson able to gain another spot now. He's looking antsy. He wants to take that lead away from the 48.
Yeah, be interesting to see what he plans on doing here on this restart.
We'll pop in the chat here. We see Inspire So Many rooting for Dustin McGee and Thomas Geyer. Obviously just talked with Thomas Geyer. Didn't have to use his fast repair after being in the middle of all that action, so definitely good news for fans of him. But we'll see as this restart coming back up through the tri-oval. The pace car has made that hard left turn. Everybody's just waiting on the 48. And on it he goes. Green flag back out in the air as you look at, I believe, Snellgrove making a couple passes up on the top towards the back. There's already some 3-wide action going on towards the back here.
They did not waste any time going from single file to trying to make some moves, but right here we got a battle for the lead.
Here comes Thomas Johnson trying to take the lead away from Jonathan Leach, and now Johnson has the help. These guys try to side draft just a little bit. Looks like Johnson's going to be able to get clear, though. Into the lead goes Thomas Johnson, and on the outside now is Nolan Gross with a huge push for Brian Skidmore. More cars lined up in the outside right now. We'll see how much that benefits versus the shorter line around, as you see now the 2 Miller Lite Dodge getting caught up in behind on the inside lane. Looks like we might have had a spin coming up off of turn number 4. Chris Tidy's around hard into the wall.
No caution is out as he's on the apron.
No, and we've got a battle back for the lead once again. Nolan Gross still trying to take that lead away on the outside. We'll jump back, check on the Chris Tidy spin in just a moment here. But
Look at Jonathan Leach going to the outside. Now they're going to leave him hung out to dry. It's going to be 3 wide, but Leach has no help.
no help at all, and that's what we call the sucker hole in these cars. Nobody's helping you in the middle, and looks like that 76 might try to get in behind him. He's got a huge run. He's going to try to go to the outside 4 wide. Not quite enough there. Has to check up huge, but that was almost a big moment.
That could have been really huge. We do have a caution, though.
Caution is out. Wonder if that is for the Chris Tidy crash or anything else. I'm not seeing any other incidents of contact, so we'll go ahead and take a look, see what happened to Chris Tidy coming up off of turn number 4. Oh, it looks like maybe a bad push from the 70 just gets him turned sideways, and with that much gas on it, it's tough to get her woe down when you're headed to the wall like that. See if we can back it up just a touch here. Yep, that 70 all over the back bumper of Chris Tidy, and nothing he could do. Heavy contact to the inside wall, and rolls it back in there once more for good measure.
Yeah, if you're going to try to bump draft, you don't really want to do it exiting the corner going out to straightaways.
Yeah, it's a tough spot for sure, because if you can get lined up right when you're coming up off the corner, it's huge if you're getting a run up on somebody. But yeah, it's a tough spot, because that's where the car unloads the most, and you got a lot of weight shift there. It doesn't take much to turn these cars around. I think it was Ned Jarrett said way back on an old, I think like the 99 Daytona 500, if you could get behind one of these cars at 200 miles an hour on a skateboard and just touch it with your finger, push it a little bit, you could spin one out. These things are so light getting through these corners, and it really takes a lot from these drivers to keep them straight, especially when you're driving in a parking lot at 200 miles an hour.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever heard that one before. That is pretty interesting and does make a lot of sense.
Yeah, I mean, the newer cars nowadays, they're designed to cut through the air a little bit better, but these Gen 4 cars, they're a lot smoother for sure, but they don't have that side force. You don't have those shark fins, those tall roof rails. Looks like Thomas Geyer and Matt Mettler both come into the pits that time, the only takers. Potentially just trying to start towards the back and avoid some more of this calamity. So after a strong start of 11 laps, we've had a couple of quick cautions here, and I'm sure that kind of throws these drivers for a little bit of a loop here, not knowing quite what to expect throughout the course of the rest of this first half of the race. I do want to thank everybody who's tuning in so far for the Christopher O'Shields Memorial Race here at Talladega, and we've got a lot of veterans in this race as well, and we appreciate them. Any veterans tuning in, and anybody who's lost somebody in service or anything of the sort, we just want to reach out, say thanks for tuning in, and it's a good cause these guys have thrown together to get this race on, and we appreciate everybody sticking with us through the technical difficulties trying to get this race rolling. But these boys got her going, and looks like we're getting ready to go green here.
Another restart. As that pace car is in.
This time Thomas Johnson on the front row. He's opting to go towards the bottom a little bit. We'll see. Everybody's following him, so we'll see if maybe we get some people trying to jump to the outside. Green flag in the air, though. An excellent start from the first three. Got about 3 car lengths up on fourth now. There's Greg Snellgrove. I noticed him the last 2 restarts jumping up to the top, gaining a couple spots. Perfectly legal before the finish line as long as you do it on the outside. Can't pass on the inside before the start-finish line with single-file restart rules. And now Thomas Johnson trying to figure out which lane to block, but Trenton Murphy with a huge run up top, and now they're looking to get 3 wide down on the bottom. Here comes Nolan Gross in the 0-2. They're 4 wide. Gross is going to have to back out of it. He's got the space to get back up top, though, and he does. We'll see if he gets swallowed up by the rest of these guys. There's Snellgrove. He's trying to work his way back up to the top, and they're 3 wide for the lead again. Here comes Jonathan Leach back up to the top. And on the top of the racetrack is the 75, Brian Skidmore. Jonathan Leach cuts down. 4 wide for second, a huge run up top for the 20 car. Paul M's to the lead, and there's contact. Around goes the 95. Brandon Dennis, the 30, with heavy contact. Blake Vandenboom with heavy back damage as well, and it looked like Eli Raposa also caught up in that. He's going to take it right to the pits.
Now, I'm kind of interested here, Liam. I noticed that caution was out before they ended up wrecking, and so I'm wondering if there was something else. And after that caution was thrown, then that wreck happened.
Well, let's see. Nolan Gross has crashed, so let's take a look at that first. Oh yeah, there we go. Back it up just a touch here. These guys were catching up to the slower Nolan Gross. They're 4 wide, a little bit of net code with the 76 and the 8 sends all 3 of them around down the front straightaway, and it looks like we're going to see some heavy contact to the inside wall. Huge hit for that 0-2 Nolan Gross. Now let's see what happened to Dennis here. As you mentioned, the caution was already out. Just a touch with the 9 sends him down into the 30. And that 74. Hard contact for Patrick Rochadell. Nowhere to go. Yeah, it'd be interesting to know if that maybe happened from a checkup or...
I'm wondering if it did. Guys behind, maybe not prepared for that caution or the checkup as quick after the caution came out.
I was trying to look at a caution light there to see, but must have been a bang play. Well, Paul Ems takes the lead right before that caution comes out with a phenomenal move up to the top side to make it 4 wide. He holds the lead over Jonathan Leach, Richard Clement Sr., Brian Skidmore, and Greg Snellgrove has worked his way back up to 5th after we saw him get up into the wall and lose the draft on that first run. Looks like the 38, Blake Vandenboom, letting these leaders get around him. Gonna take the lap down status. We did see some of these guys had to jump into the pits, so might have a couple of lappers on the inside on this restart. I believe Mark Lapierre just got a wave around to get one of his laps back, so that should leave us with 23 on the lead lap at this point in the race. 26 laps completed. Approaching the 100 to go mark, 266 in terms of miles at that point, and well, there's going to be no shortage of action coming to you in the next 100 laps.
Yeah, these guys, they started off doing a great job, and it seems like cautions breed cautions. Wondering if these guys are just getting it out of their system and going to start seeing green flag laps happen.
Well, yeah, cautions definitely do breed cautions, and in this situation, not the same way that they would at another track. Restarts, you see at a track like, say, Vegas or Atlanta, is, well, I'll try to make this quick, the pace car jumps in. Generally, you see calamity because the cars are closer, but with these single-file restarts, the runs are so much bigger, and it's easy to jump on them, but we'll see how this one goes. Paul Ems going to lead us to the green flag. Into the Geico restart zone. And on the gas, Paul Ems takes us to the green flag here. And you already see him start to fan out a little bit. Some inside moves happening. See See if they time it right to not get black flagged. There's Snellgrove moving down to the bottom side to try to take 4th place away as the top 3 seem to get away okay. We'll watch
here
these runs.
comes. Say, here comes the rest of the pack to the top 3.
Yeah, huge push there from Snellgrove to the back of the 6, and that's gonna give him a huge boost of momentum down the back straightaway. Jonathan Leach getting up into the back bumper. That number 20 gets him a little bit squirrely, but he keeps it straight. Not quite enough for Clement to get down and clear. And now here comes Snellgrove trying to the top to make it 3 wide. Not any help there to the top for Snellgrove, as it's kind of a 2-horse race down to the inside for the lead. Ooh, not quite. These guys getting really close throughout the tri-oval.
They are side drafting each other very hard.
How many laps we got to go? Is it 102 or 2?
They're racing like it's only 2.
That's what we love to see at Talladega. These guys are putting it all on the line, and you see this front pack, they're all racing hard, but you get a little bit further back here, you've got a lot of single file guys kind of straggling, just trying to hold on. They see what's happening in front of them and have no interest in being in this hornet's nest. Guys like Chris Tidy sitting back here, he's a lap down. Trenton Murphy in the 88. There's Jeffrey Mathis up there. Just trying to get in line and hang out behind this lead pack and hopefully have enough time to react if something happens.
Things have gotten super tight
They
up
sure
here
have.
in this front pack.
Working lap number 29 here out of 130, and mostly double file up front. This second pack kind of starting to get a little bit closer, and you've got another pack of 4 cars not too far behind these guys. Jonathan Leach looks to be getting a little bit antsy behind the 20 of Paul Ems. Thomas Johnson sitting in right now 5th place, but that'll change in a few seconds. He's currently up 29 spots from where he started. Still our biggest mover of the day.
Bottom lane has a lot more cars in it than that top lane, but I'm wondering how much energy, especially with all that wiggling you see there on the bottom lane.
Yeah,
How
all
much more
3 of
energy?
the first 3 cars on the inside lane rather were running about a half a lane up off the bottom. Here comes Jonathan Leach to try to, oh, and he's getting turned. Doesn't look to be a huge crash there. I mean, obviously a huge hit there for the 8. It wasn't as big as the first incident there, as much as I thought it would be with the 48 getting turned up in front of the field, but looked like he tried to move up to that middle lane, and Clement wasn't sure if he was going to go with him, and he ended up hooking the 48. Let's go back and try to look and see what happened there. Yeah, it looks like the 48 moves up, and the 6 has a run there. He looks to try to move up to the top, but then maybe says, I'm going to push him, and just gets behind him. Turns him head on into the fence, and it's bigger than I initially thought, but I thought this was going to be a lot bigger than it was. You see the 6 and the 48 staying up top. Snellgrove got a piece of it, and as they're checking up, that's where the 8 of Jeffrey Mathis gets turned around. More checking up, puts the 21 and the 65 together, spinning both of them out.
Overall, a lot of these guys did a great job not to make it much bigger than what it was.
1,000%.
Or what it could have been, rather. I'm wondering here if Jonathan Leach just didn't expect such a huge run coming from the top, or as quickly as it happened.
Yeah, he definitely didn't expect to get that shot coming down the back straightaway, but Well, it's kind of the risk you take when you come up and block a lane. You don't quite know what kind of momentum they have. It's tough when you don't have a spotter like TJ Majors or whoever spots for Justin Haley. A lot of guys into the pits this time, potentially some damage repair. We see guys like Clement in the pits after heavy contact with the wall. Obviously Leach with heavy damage there. Mathis, Mark LaPierre, Michael Hicks getting some damage repaired. These guys having to come in and use a fast repair about 30 laps in. That's not ideal.
Good news is a guy like Jonathan Leach, Clement Senior, you know, they should have 4 left, and
Yeah, and those are two
hopefully
guys
not have to.
that know they're quick.
Yeah, and hopefully they don't have to use any more towards getting to the end.
Yeah, you definitely want to save as many as you can for the end because that's where things get really wild. I mean, if you think things have been crazy so far, getting down to those last 20 laps, I mean, we're going to see racing like we did, well, really just before this restart, but on steroids. Looks like the lights are out on the pace car, though. 21 cars still on the lead lap. Chris Tidy got the lucky dog that last time around to put him back on the lead lap. As the rest of the field tries to group up and get as close to the front as they possibly can to try to stay with this lead draft. Paul Ems is going to lead him down. Dante Hewer right behind him. Terry Mellum, Blair Russell, and Johnny James rounding out your top 5. Into the restart zone and on the gas. We are racing once again. 33 laps complete. Big fan outs already. A couple of guys look to maybe have missed a shift. Johnny James, they're slow on the inside in the 24, and it looked like the 2 car of Blair Russell. Oh, we didn't get the restart there. That would make sense.
I'm not really sure what happened there.
Oh, bit of a checkup there as everybody was coming to the green. A little bit of 8-on-8 action there. You never like to get taken out by your own number.
No, never.
So as these guys slow up to wait for the pace car after the delayed restart. Well, it's not a bad time to bring up some fun facts about Talladega. It's obviously mentioned this is the biggest racetrack that NASCAR, or the biggest super speedway that NASCAR runs on. Bill France wanted to build one a bit bigger than Daytona and try to build some speed records. Completed in 1969, the first race was scheduled to be, was supposed to be with all the Cup guys, but drivers decided the speeds were too fast, they were tearing up tires too much, and it wasn't safe. So the drivers kind of unionized there. Big Bill said the race is going on either way, so he decided we're going to put the Sportsman division, which was at that point probably the Busch Series equivalent, the nationwide Xfinity equivalent. So we're going to put those guys out on the racetrack for our Sunday show, and we'll still have our show. Richard Brickhouse was one of the only NASCAR drivers, or Cup drivers rather, to decide to run the race, and he wound up getting his first win, and I believe his only win, at Talladega in 1969. So a little bit of fun fact there. Buddy Baker was the first driver in a closed test to reach 200 miles an hour on a circuit. Turned a lap of 200.447. Did that in 1970, so it's kind of wild to me to think these cars have been going over 200 miles an hour for over 50 years. What about you, Josh?
Yeah, I just couldn't imagine, what it was like back then for these guys to experience those kind of speeds.
Yeah, we talk about the NASCAR cars hitting 200 there, but there was actually ideas to run an IndyCar race at Talladega when the track first opened. Obviously, IndyCars at Talladega was a bad idea in the first place. They were hitting speeds of probably 20 miles an hour faster than they were at Indianapolis, which was the fastest track on the circuit at that point. So that idea was scrapped after a bit of testing, but fun fact, they did try to race IndyCars here at one point.
I actually have a fun fact for you.
Let's hear it.
When this track opened, it was not called Talladega Superspeedway. The original name was Alabama International Motor Speedway, and it had that name for the first 20 years this track was opened.
There you go. You learn something new every day, and I hope you guys tuning in are enjoying the show and maybe learning a little bit about one of my favorite racetracks in all of NASCAR. Looks like the lights are off on the pace car here, so we'll get another try at this restart. Paul M's still the leader. Dante Hewer up in second. Terry Mellum, we saw him backing up towards the back of the pack at the beginning of this race, finds himself in third. Blair Russell, Johnny James rounding out your top five. So pace car's already made that hard left. These guys working the tri-oval right up next to the wall, trying to protect. A little bit of checking up towards the back. We'll see if this goes. Into the zone and on the gas. Green flag back out. Paul Ems leads him down. Dante Hewer right up on his back bumper, follows him down to the bottom of the racetrack. A little bit of side-by-side action happening towards the middle to back of the pack so far. Up front, it stays single file. And just as I say that, there goes Blair Russell to the top of Terry Mellum. Help from behind from Johnny James. Now we've got a double file race for the lead, just about.
Looks like that top lane maybe a little bit stronger. Not quite anymore, as they're about even.
Yeah, the top side gets a little bit of momentum coming up off the corner, but obviously that shorter distance around the inside, that's what you're looking at. You see those driver heads super steady throughout the course of the tri-oval. That's the signs of a good handling race car. That is the lightest point on this track, and especially when you've got a car right up under you, that thing just wants to slide out from under you.
That outside lane is really struggling to make any momentum happen, but
a little bit of moves down to the bottom. There's the 88. That's Trenton Murphy making a couple moves down below the yellow to try to get three wide there, and it's gonna fit down there. UPS. If it fits, it ships. It might be the wrong company, but three wide action still happening right now. A little bit of contact. We might have just seen it. More contact. Around goes the 88. Hits the 61 right in front of the field. Coming up off of turn 4. That's a huge crash. That's going to bring out a caution. Straight to the pit box for the number 88. He's going to try to stop it up in his box and get that fast repair taken right away. But let's go back and try to see what took place there. We were kind of at an odd angle coming up off of turn 4. Right up level with these cars, but so yeah, we're three wide right now. There was a little bit of contact beforehand with the 88 and the 27. The 27 decides I'm going to check up just a little bit and try to slot in down below, I believe, was his idea and just wasn't quite clear. Hooks the 88 right into the back end of that 61 car. There's Snellgrove with nowhere to go. Look at that 6. Just might have gotten a tap there. Yeah, he gets pointed towards the outside wall, but is able to save it. Ooh, buddy. That number 8, Bud 8, that was our that's Thomas Geyer there. I want to take a look at his. See what he saw there. Wow. And another close moment there. I don't think it gets much closer than that. Cautions breed cautions. That is for sure.
Yeah, so far, I mean, we went the first 11 laps without a caution coming out, and so far, turning lap 38 complete, we've had quite a few of them.
Well, the lights are out on the pace car here. We're approaching 39 laps complete. 91 to go at the restart, and well, we're still going to have at least 2 pit stops. I'd love to see if we get some green flag pit stop action. I know at a track like this, it's definitely tough, but we've seen some phenomenal racing action throughout the course of this race so far, though, and tell you what, man, these guys definitely know how to put on a show.
Yeah, these cars are an absolute blast to drive, especially here at Talladega. I really love this car track combo.
There's that hard left turn from the iRacing sedan. These guys rack it up once again, ready for a restart. Into the zone. On the gas, here we go. Green flag is back out, 91 laps to go at Talladega. Smooth
Call a restart up front.
A smooth restart so far, but we've already got some guys jumping up trying to take advantage of runs that they might be getting. There's the 6 of Clement up there all by himself for now, but here comes the 75 jumping up with him. Now everybody up to the top. Bottom's wide open. Here comes Deontay Hauser to the bottom for the race lead. Blair Russell is a little bit slow on that top side. Going to lose 2 spots, maybe 3. As here comes Johnny James up to the top, hoping to get a push. Terry Mellum going to try to get in behind. Push that 9, but a huge run for the 24. Johnny James up top. He's going to come down and clear for the lead. He's going to lead this lap. Unless the 2 has something to say about it.
Johnny James, though, he made a great move going from the top to the bottom. Get the lead.
A little bit of squirreliness. That second car up on the outside. That's going to create an opening for 3 wide potentially. 75 thinks better of it. Stays behind the 6 of Clement. But Blair Russell is trying to hold that outside lane. Trying to keep them moving. It's a 65.
It almost seems to me right here that top lane is kind of the preferred lane. See a lot more cars up there than down on the bottom. Wonder if these guys are going to start doing, it's kind of been dubbed as the Dale Jr. effect, just riding around on the top lane.
I found, in my experience, it's easier to make a pass on the outside, but it's a lot easier to hold the lead on the inside, if that makes any sense. That might kind of lead into that mentality of people jumping down to the bottom as soon as they get clear and then getting passed on the outside. But Blair Russell doing everything to try to prevent that from happening. I don't think that 65 car is on the lead lap right now, but doing an amazing job pushing to try to keep that 2 car out front. Maybe try to race his way back out of the lead lap. At least sitting in the right spot for the free pass potentially.
These cars are all over the place. Just handling is not there, it seems like. Just seeing these cars really wiggly, going all over the place. Track temp has come down a bit, it seems. It's 96 degrees.
Yeah, that should make a huge difference for these guys. Doesn't seem like much, 12 degrees, but tell you what, you go outside on an 88-degree day versus 100, and you'll feel that difference. That's a big difference. Definitely easier on these tires, might help the handling a little bit and prevent these guys from being so squirrely. As we've got a squirrely moment inside, the 198 in the back had to check up as they get 3 wide. There's the 76 of Michael Hicks getting up top with a bit of a push from the 70 of Dylan Canova. We've seen Dylan be one of the best pushers throughout the course of this race. Had a little bit of a moment with the 1 car, but look at this run up top. 3 wide for the race lead. Here comes Michael Hicks. He's about clear getting down into 3, but now the 24 gets back down. He's going to try to block both lanes, the middle and the top. Jumps down in front of Blair Russell. And now here comes Canova trying to get a run up on the top side. A little bit of help from the 198. There goes Chris Tidy up to the top with an aggressive move. Got a little bit loose as he moved up there, but keeps her straight and is trying to work his way back up into the top 10.
This track is wide enough for 3 wide, but I don't know if I'd be comfortable being 3 wide if I'm in that pack.
We got 3 in the wall.
Yeah, that was perfect synchronization there.
Yeah, it looked like Chris Tidy, Jonathan Geyer, and potentially one more got up into the wall there coming up off of 2. And now there's one more up in the wall. That's Matt Metler in the 5. Getting real close to it. The 23 rather, Terry Mellon backs out of this thing, and he's going to jump back up out of the track, try to stay in the draft. But he did not want any of that. As back up front, Michael Hicks trying to hold the lead away from Blair Russell, but here comes the 2 with a huge run.
Great run there on the outside, or middle lane rather. Take the lead away.
We are 45 laps into this thing, and we have lost a few guys. There's 5 cars that have started the race, or rather there's 8 cars that have started the race that are no longer in the race. That'd be Trenton Murphy, Paul Ems, Greg Snellgrove, Mark LaPierre, Brandon Dennis, Patrick Rochadell, Eli Raposa, and Louis Altamiller. All out of the race, but things heating up front. Here comes Blair Russell up top, right up next to the wall with a huge run on Michael Hicks. 3 wide for the race lead, 4 wide for the race lead. Here comes the 70 up on top in contact. That's a big one.
Almost everybody involved in that one. Talk about the big one. That was not the big one. That was a huge one.
Yeah, they're still wrecking up front. Thomas Johnson getting stuck in the mud, hopefully able to get out. That was a huge one, getting down the front straightaway, coming to the start-finish line. We'll go ahead and try to pull that up, break down what took place there. So they start to get 4 wide here. 70 Dylan Canova looks up top, and it looks like the 2 and the 76 are kind of door banging already in the tri-oval. Might have been contact there, might not have been, but the 2 might have been a touch of net code, but the 2 and 76 come together and collect the 70, bring him down, and it's just kind of on from there. There's a lot of damaged race cars in this one.
That was just 4 wide gone wrong.
Yeah, simply put. A lot of guys will be coming in, taking their fast repairs. I'd imagine some guys had to take a tow and might lose a lap or two, but we'll shake out, try to figure out who's able to keep going here. And Deontay Hewer stays out. Most everybody behind him comes in. See if there's any sort of strategy call with that, but we are getting to the point where everybody should be able to make it on one stop.
Well, hey, you ready for another fun fact?
Always.
I know he's listed in the sim as the 00, but seeing the 9 out front makes me think of this here. April 30th, 1987, Bill Elliott set the all-time NASCAR qualifying record, winning the pole at a speed of 212.809 miles per hour. The record still stands to this day, and it's simply because of the use of the restrictor plates that slowed the cars down to get the pack racing like what we have now.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a record that will absolutely never be broken. Yeah, they found out basically too much speed can be a bad thing. When Bobby Allison lost an engine and a piece of that blew his tire, he spun out and ended up crashing into the catch fence. Luckily, nobody was killed or severely injured, but definitely a scary time for NASCAR, and something had to be done there. And some people would argue it's created some of the best racing that NASCAR has seen since then. So some of the drivers say take off the plates, let's get the speed, but I don't know, man. Even driving those 87s around this place, it's something else.
Yeah, they are challenging for sure. Lights on the pace car are off, so we'll be 1 to green.
Yeah, it looks like only 14 guys on the lead lap right now. We've got Todd Martin, Thomas Johnson, Nolan Gross, 1 lap down. Looks like Blair Russell is still on the pits, potentially waiting on a tow. Perry Gammon, Ronnie Derrick, and I believe Blake Vandenboom have all dropped out of the race. So 17, potentially 18 cars still out onto the racetrack, and we've got about 80 laps to go. Things might settle down a little bit, but seeing all that 3-wide action, the way they're gridded up, I don't think this show is slowing down.
I think you are absolutely right. These guys, they don't seem like they want any calmness in this race.
Lap 50 will be completed this time. 80 laps to go at the restart. Just under 70 minutes left to complete the race, if it comes to that, but I don't really think it will. We've got Deontay Hewer, Reggie Jensen, Matt Metler, Dylan Canova, Rylan Neerman rounding out your top 5 as these guys approach the Geico restart zone, getting ready to gas her up. And there we go. Green flag once again. 80 laps to go.
Organized restart so far.
Yeah, it's definitely looking pretty clean here so far. A little bit of double file action happening up front. There goes Reggie Jensen trying to take the lead in the 91. I thought it was the 61, I believe, earlier, but getting a good push there from Dylan Canova in the 70. Canova tries to look down to the bottom, not quite enough to make that run happen. Rylan Neerman coming down in front of the 9 car there, and there's Canova trying to make a move down to the bottom. Might have to check up a little bit, and that's going to give a huge run to the outside. Here comes Jonathan Leach with a big push from Jeffrey Mathis. Chris Tidy up in that outside lane as well, trying to give a big push. Jonathan Leach is going to lead this lap, but now he's going to get stuck in the middle 3 wide.
I don't think that went according to plan for Jonathan Leach. He has no help at all.
If that was the last lap, it would have worked perfect, but too much time left in this one for that to be the move, but doesn't seem to be helping the outside lane either. That inside lane seems to be the main beneficiary, as now we see other guys jumping up and trying to make that middle group work a little bit. You see that 34. It's Thomas Johnson. He's a lap down, but he's trying to be in that free pass position. The 21 right next to him. That's who he's racing for the free pass spot. So definitely a lot of battles going on. Not everyone is on the lead lap. Jonathan Leach trying to make that middle lane work, but Reggie Jensen, Dylan Canova, Rylan Neerman working phenomenally well down on the inside.
Looks like a big push there to Jensen from Canova.
Yeah, huge push right up under that back bumper there. That's where it starts to get a little bit sketchy, but they had a couple of car links. Now you see that 34 trying to make a move up on the top side. Just trying to take every run he can so he can stay in front of that 21. Stay in the lead lap, or in the free pass position, rather. .44 all over the back bumper, that 48.
It's just so hard with the amount of cars left in this race for that outside lane to really get any momentum going.
Well, they're working on it now. Leach has got himself a run up top. He's going to be next to the leader. Let's see if he can get himself cleared down the back straightaway. A huge push from the 34. Leach going to clear himself down there. I don't think he liked that push from the 34. Definitely happy to get down in front of somebody else. That Thomas Johnson was pushing hard there. It was a good push. Got the job done, and it's definitely keeping him in front, keeping him positioned in front of that 21 car. But now he's going to go out and try to get up into the front spot of this thing, take his lap back the racing way.
And I'm wondering.
And we've got a new leader as Jeffrey Mathis pushes that 34 out front. He's able to clear Jonathan Leach.
Yeah, I was wondering if Mathis had pushed Johnson out far enough for Mathis to have the lead, and sure enough, he did. Now we have another big run on the outside coming.
A little 4 wide towards the back. That was almost a bigger deal. Michael Hickson. Yep, Michael Hickson. 0-2 of Nolan Gross have crashed. I saw him getting 4 wide up into the corner and knew it wasn't going to be good, but yeah, just a tough break of everybody trying to get into one spot, and not really much either one of those guys could do with the 5 being a little bit slower than them. Well, Thomas Johnson is back on the lead lap. And I believe Todd Martin is going to get the lead lap as well. So I think Johnson may have been out in front of the leader when the caution came out.
And pretty good hard racing to get back up there to take it back the racing way, as you said, rather than relying on that free pass.
And I tell you what, if I'm the 21 and I lost that battle for the free pass, that's the best way I can lose it. By him going out there, getting his lap back to put me back into that position.
For sure. Absolutely there.
Looks like he's still being shown 1 lap down, so we'll see if he gets that wave around this time. But we got the 1 to green this time. Michael Hicks is coming up off the pit lane, so we're still going to have 15 cars on the lead lap here. Lights are back on the pace car. There's the 21 getting his lap back.
Well, hey, in April 25th, 2010, the April edition of the Talladega race set a new record for lead changes with 88, the old mark being 75 in 1984. It also set a new motorsports record with 29 different leaders.
Yeah, this track has definitely set up some phenomenal racing, and tell you what, 88 lead changes. That's almost 1 every 3 laps in a full race. So Been seeing a lot of lead changes throughout the course of this thing, though, and Jeffrey Mathis leads him down. Hopefully, gonna try to prevent some more lead changes from happening as they get into the Geico restart zone. On the gas, green flag is back out. Top two getting away fairly well. We got a crash. Huge crash up on the restart here. Hard into the wall is Jonathan Leach. Matt Medler is involved. We saw the 70 of Dylan Canova. Big trouble on the restart there. Try to take a look. Looks like it's already started there. Oh, man. Looks like Johnny James is the one who gets turned up towards the wall. Leach got into the right rear and just hooked him head on, and nothing that really anybody could do being all up on top of each other like that.
Very unfortunate there. I know we can't see you know, who's all used fast repairs, but I can already tell you that at 48 of Jonathan Leach, he's probably about to use fast repair number 3 and only have 2 left, and there's still a long ways to go in this one.
Yeah, approaching lap 60, going to leave us 70 to go and just under an hour left in this time limit for the session, so just something to keep in mind here. We've still got plenty of time left to go in this thing, and to be more than halfway done with your fast repairs is definitely not a good feeling. Oh, well, we sit under caution here. Might have just seen the lights on the pace car go out. Yep, lights are out on the pace car, so we've got 1 to green here. It's like 9 guys are lined up for the restart so far. We're back up to 17 on the lead lap. Everybody who is in the race is on the lead lap. Nolan Gross getting his lap back that last time around. Getting ready for another restart here. 60 laps will be complete. 70 laps to go. 55 minutes left in the session here. If it does come down to time, we'll keep you posted on how many laps there will be to go. Getting close to halfway here in the Christopher O'Shields Memorial Race here at Talladega, and oh, we've seen a lot of calamity, no shortage of action, some 3-wide action, some 4-wide action, and those guys practically gridded up top, or up front, 3x3x3. Still got a long way to go in this thing, but Jeffrey Mathis looking to lead him down. Green flag back in the air. 75 tried to get himself a good run there, Brian Skidmore. Didn't quite have anywhere to go with it. Now he starts to looking down to the inside of the 6. Not quite enough there. Everybody stays single file as they go through turns 1 and 2. Looking a little bit further back to see how the rest are faring so far, and looks pretty clean at the beginning of this restart.
Yeah, it's spread out so far. Too wide action going on right here.
Side by side for the lead, Brian Skidmore, Richard Clement. Dead even coming up off of turn number 4. Which lane's going to get a better run? Looks like the top side right now. Brian Skidmore about half a car length up front. But here comes the inside lane, getting a little bit closer now. Some contact up front. The 16 of Ryland Neerman able to save it there after a little bit of contact. A squirrely moment there through the tri-oval, and everybody stays clean and green. We keep on going.
That was a great save. Pretty surprised that he was able to save that, but great job on his part.
Some more 3 wide action in the middle of the pack too.
Trying to go 4 wide. Not quite. But that third lane is starting
a little
to
bit more
form.
contact. These guys are starting to get a little bit more aggressive with the side draft, and you saw it right there with Skidmore and Mathis. We got one hard into the wall down the front straightaway. That's Matt Metler. Doesn't seem to be bringing out a yellow. We'll try to take a look and see if there's a replay there, but heavy damage to the right front. It's 3 wide for second place. Deontay Hewer up to the front once again. These guys are all over the place. They're snaking in and out of lines, trying to get everything they can.
Hard side drafting going on that outside lane.
Yeah, looking to get 3 wide almost. These cars are so tough because you'll get a big run, but you can't run into somebody like you can with the trucks or the Xfinity cars or even the next gens nowadays. It's so tough to try to calculate these runs and stay as close as possible to maximize momentum, but not turn the guy.
Yeah, we've seen already bump drafting gone wrong. And the closer this gets to the end of the race, the more intensity these drivers are going to have.
Oh, 1,000%. Well, there's never.
Sorry,
I was
gonna say, I think you're seeing a lot of pushing going on. It's up, especially between these first 4 cars. That you just see a lot more squirreliness.
Yeah, it seems like everybody wants to lead right now as we approach the halfway point of this race. Big push up top. Skidmore down on the bottom. Thomas Johnson leads that lap. And we are halfway. And with that, there's never really a good time to step away, but we're going to go ahead and give you guys a little bit of a turn it up and let you guys enjoy the sounds of these beautiful race cars. Oh, we're back now, and obviously we've had a big accident to bring out the caution here. We'll go ahead and take a look to see what happened there. Looks like most everybody's going to come into the pits here. Oh, it's a little bit too far in front of it there, but... Looks like Terry Mellum's going to end up being the first one sideways here. You see the 76 Michael Hicks gets up into the wall, tries to come back down, turns that 27 sideways. Mathis with a heavy hit there, comes down. Blair Russell with nowhere to go. Jonathan Leach caught up in that one as well.
We are 1 to green once again, as lights on the pace car are off.
Yep. Terry Mellum's still in the pits right now. Unsure if he'll be able to get back out onto the racetrack, but we've got 14 on the lead lap, getting ready to line up for this restart. Deontay Hewer still holds on to the race lead over Thomas Johnson. Johnny James up in third. Richard Clement and Rylan Neerman rounding out your top 5. Pace car's made the hard left turn. Deontay Howard Gonna lead him back down. "14 cars on the lead lap, 61 laps to go." Green flag back out into the air. Deontay Hewer gets off with a clean start. Most everybody stays in line. See a little bit of a side-by-side going on towards the back, but pretty clean on this restart here. And down to the bottom goes Thomas Johnson with a nice run, trying to take the lead away, but these guys both have quite a lead over the rest of the pack. Expect them to get swallowed up down the back straightaway. We'll see what the 24 of Johnny James in that Kool-Aid 24 does. Is he going to try to make a move or get in behind and push that 34? He stays behind the 34. Those aerial number teammates and those Chevy Impalas rocking the inside together. We got another aerial right behind him with the 6. Clemens. And there goes Clement down to the bottom, down below the yellow line to try to take the lead. That's going to hurt his momentum. He gets sideways down there on the bottom. They're 4 wide for the race lead. Up to the back up out of the racetrack comes the 6. Everybody gets through okay. Still 3 wide for the race lead though. Deontay Hewer, Johnny James, and Thomas Johnson. Now Johnson is clear of the lead, but that middle lane's going to have itself a run coming up off of turn number 2. Johnny James trying everything he can. He's got himself a nice push from Reggie Jensen in the 91. And right up next to the wall is Deontay Hewer, a little bit too close there. Tries to get back down off of it without getting into anybody. Successfully does that, but he's going to lose a little bit of time here.
These guys really are racing like it is the last lap.
Well, we're getting to about 40 minutes to go and 60 laps left. I think these guys might be starting to think there's a chance we don't make it to the end of the laps. We might be looking at a timed race here. Obviously, with the technical difficulties we had getting the race session open, that kind of took away some time that we had to complete this race. They did take some laps off of it, but time constraints might end up being a factor here. We'll be with you right to the end.
Yeah, I'm seeing these guys might be able to go 51 more laps based on how much time is left.
That puts us close. That puts us within the last 10 if we were to go green the whole time. But if we were to ask Larry Mack about his trends, I think he would tell us otherwise. Is there 3 wide through the tri-oval once again? A couple of guys bouncing off the apron there, just trying to give a little bit extra space. But Brian Skidmore sitting in the middle of 2 orange cars, beating and banging with Reggie Jensen. We've seen a lot of contact in this race for sure, but we've also seen a lot of contact where these guys have been able to keep going. You know, whether it's banging doors on the straightaways or even some moments in the corners. We've had a lot of close quarters action that these guys have been able to just drive straight through. Side by side for the race lead once again. Outside lane is packed up a lot better than the inside, but Thomas Johnson, he's got himself a good run, and now he's right behind him is the 16 of Rylan Neerman. They are 2 by 2 everywhere in this pack, with the exception of maybe a little 3 wide towards the back. Not quite looked like it, but 2 by 2 with the exception of the guy in the back. Looks like Matt Mettler, Jonathan Leach tagging along at the back there. I believe Leach has used, he might have used his 4th fast repair that last time.
Yeah, I believe Leach has 1 left.
I know the 8 of Thomas Geyer has probably 2 that he should have used that he didn't end up having to, based on 2 fantastic rack avoidances. And you know, we saw him in that minefield after the first big crash, and then had himself a good avoidance getting through the tri-oval as well. So that Bud 8 looking clean. He's got himself a couple more fast repairs than he would have. Or he could have, rather, I should say. A little 3 wide action going up towards the front here. Jensen trying to make it 3 wide, looking towards that middle, but see the way the 24 and the 6 are working together up top, there's not quite enough space for him to put his nose down in there. 3 wide back in the back, though, as Mathis trying to get around Geyer, and looks like Canova down on the bottom trying to work his way up in there. The race for the lead is heating up, though. Clement leads that lap, and now the 24, Johnny James, is going to get himself clear. Second place, elects to stay in the middle lane, stay behind the 6 of Clement. That's going to give Thomas Johnson a chance on the inside. Nierman looked like he was trying to get up in the bottom middle there, make it 4 wide, but that middle lane is really working something out.
Yeah, it seems like it's the most organized line right now. There are 2 cars all the way up against the wall. One of them just got into the wall.
Yeah, it was Michael Hicks, the 76. Definitely getting a cinnamon toast crunch up on that wall. 3 wide throughout the middle of the pack, and I'm honestly kind of shocked to see how the 75, Brian Skidmore, has been able to stay with these guys. He doesn't have any help. He's got the 76 trying to get up behind him, but he hasn't had help, and he's still able to work with these guys and stay side by side at the second row. Now he's up there almost 3 wide for the lead.
He's doing a great job.
All these guys are. Look at this 3 wide action for second place. Skidmore is getting pushed up a little bit there by the Johnny James in the 24. Now Skidmore's got himself a little bit more help from Hicks, but 2 cars on the outside versus 6 in the middle and the bottom. It's going to be tough. That inside lane doesn't seem to be able to stay as straight together as the middle lane is. Looks like Ryland Nierman is poking his nose out a little bit more behind the 34 than one might want. And I wonder how much that's helping that outside lane. But now a huge push down to the inside. That's going to push Thomas Johnson into the lead. Might get clear getting down into turn 3.
I think Thomas Johnson is clear. He is wanting to stay on the bottom lane.
Looks like we've still got about 12 cars in this pack within about half a second of each other, and then there's 2 more sitting about a second off of this pack, just waiting. That was Leach and Mettler, likely have used most of, if not all of their fast repairs, so... Man, that 76 back up into the wall again. He is doing everything he can to try to get that top side working. Just apparently doesn't have enough racetrack. If that safer barrier wasn't there, a lot of these guys would be spending less time in the paint shop. But these guys try to get absolutely everything they can, use up every inch of racetrack, and you saw with that 76 there, just getting a little bit too much out of the groove, and you see how much it slows him down. Michael Hicks lost about 10 car lengths to the draft there. He should be able to stay with it, especially with those 2 behind him, but just kind of goes to show what one small mistake can do for your race. Coming up out of turn number 2, that second row is still 3 wide. Brian Skidmore is doing unbelievable things up there all by himself, staying with this lead pack, staying with these 2 leaders. And see Clement get out front there, but I was going to say that 75 isn't much slower than... Oh, a little bit of contact! Getting through okay, and now Skidmore is able to... It looked like he was going to fall in line, but he jumps back up to the top side. The 91 rather, and the 75 getting together. Oh, and into the wall hard is Clement! That's going to cause more calamity up front. Around goes the 91. The 75 and 24 get together going down into turn number 1. That's going to bring out another caution.
And the caution is out.
Johnny James and Michael Hicks still crashing. Let's maybe see if we can rewind it here. Try to figure out what put that 6 car into the wall. Back it up a little bit more. Okay, so it seems like getting down into the tri-oval, it was a bump from the 16 into the 34. Gets the 34 a little bit loose. He comes up into the left front of the 6, sends him up into the wall, and at that point, there's just nothing he can do. And you see Skidmore get caught up in there, and the 24, Johnny James, gets collected after Skidmore bounces back into him, and Skidmore, trying to regain control of his car, ends up coming down and clipping that 24, and Michael Hicks with nowhere to go. You'd think he's in a good spot being a little bit further up off the pack, but oh man, that's a tough deal after the fact too.
Yeah, hard hits there for Johnny James.
It looks like he's able to come out of the pits with a clean car, so he obviously still had fast repairs left. Deontay Hewer stays out once again to retain the lead. His last pit lap was 59, so he's got about 23 laps on this tank, and as we approach the half-hour mark left in this session, I don't think he can make it from there, but maybe he knows something we don't.
Yeah, I'm getting about a projected 39-ish to go. So it is right about the window for these guys on fuel.
Well, those that have come in this time around, I would say.
Yes.
If we go green, those guys can make it to the end. Have had a lot of yellow laps, but I don't really know how much that's going to give these guys. Once again, just want to say we appreciate everybody tuning in to the Christopher O'Shields Memorial Race here at Talladega. Getting towards the end of this thing. We've got a half hour left on time. 48 laps to go in the race distance, but very unlikely. I don't think it's possible for us to finish this full distance given the session time. But definitely seen a lot of action. We've got about 40% of the field that we started with through a lot of cautions throughout the middle of this race. These ARCA cars are definitely tough to handle, and when you get them in a big pack of 20 cars, one thing going wrong can definitely take out a lot of guys. So it stinks to see those guys out of the race, but we definitely appreciate them showing up, hanging out with us, and putting on a good show for Christopher O'Shields. Well, it looks like the lights are off on the pace car as the rest of the field is slowly gathering back up. Yes, indeed, the pace car makes that move to the inside. Got 12 guys left on the lead lap. I believe Michael Hicks is still in the race. He's one lap down. So 13 drivers still in this race with a chance to win. Deontay Hewer going to lead him down once again. Green flag back in the air. Hard on the gas and a nice breakaway for the top 6. Looks to be a good amount of separation. A nice breakaway for Deontay Hewer himself. He's got about 5 car lengths between him and second place. That's normally not a good look as he's already seeing these guys with a run on him. That side-by-side behind him might help out a little bit, but Jonathan Leach trying to make a move on the outside of Matt Mettler. Deontay Hero trying to figure out which lane to block. It looks like neither one is the call. He's going to get stuck in the middle. Jonathan Leach gets down to the bottom. Jeffrey Mathis just barely getting down in front of that 9 as well. Top 6 breaking away by about 8 car lengths. 3 more behind trying to get that draft and catch up. I don't think they'll have an issue. And then there's obviously the 4 or 5 more behind them. Strategy undecided. Jonathan Leach looking to lead this lap. Mathis with a push up top, though. Mathis is going to get that lap, and here comes Hewer back up top trying to take the lead. He's got a push from Thomas Johnson. 3 wide for the race lead, almost up into the wall. Johnson looking to make it 4 wide. Does he make that move? Does he make that hole? He doesn't have the space for it, coming up off a 2. You see Matt Mettler getting down below the yellow line. He thought he might, and a huge contact there into the wall. Thomas Johnson gets turned around. Canova's in it. That's going to bring out another caution. That was a bad bump gone worse. We'll try to go and break down how that one happened. Like I said, I think that was a bad bump gone worse. I believe the 34 is going to get into the back of the 9, kind of put him into the wall, which slows them both down, and then the 70 has got nowhere to go and just kind of runs up under him. Oh, and Skidmore trying as hard as he can to slide by on the bottom side. Just gets sideswiped. Not much he could do there. Riding on board with Brian Skidmore here for this latest incident. You're just along for the ride at that point.
Yeah, not much he could do there other than just hold on.
Well, we're starting to get down into the nitty-gritty of this thing. About a half hour left. So he comes in to make a pit stop. Deontay Hewer, we saw him staying out those last couple of cautions. He's going to come in to make sure he can make it to the end. Jeffrey Mathis is the leader after that last incident. Thomas Geyer sits in second. Jonathan Leach, Nolan Gross, and Ryland Neerman rounding out your top 5.
It's hard to believe that a place like Talladega can have a caution-free race. But in May of 1997, Mark Martin won a race that had no caution flags at Talladega, which set a 500-mile speed record of 188.354 miles per hour average. And that is nearly 10 years after the introduction of restrictor plates.
That is absolutely insane to me. I mean, A, given the fact that it was, like you said, 10 years after the restrictor plates, but B, the fact that those restrictor plates put those cars closer together than they had ever been, and those guys were able to go 500 miles without a crash. And I believe they did it again in 2002. I might be wrong, but I believe one of the 2002 races went caution-free.
Oh goodness, I want to say you're right. I kind of thought it might have been 2003.
It's one of those years, but that is the last caution-free race in NASCAR, and will continue to be for as long as stage racing is a part of it. So, fun fact: the most recent caution-free race in NASCAR did indeed come at Talladega. Man, 188 miles an hour over 500 miles. That's wild.
I just couldn't imagine at all.
Yeah, well, the pace car makes the that hard left, and before we get to the restart, I will say that Talladega race, that's faster than the fastest Indianapolis 500, which I believe clocks in at 187 miles an hour. So, crazy fast speeds here at Talladega. We're going to see some more as these guys jump into the Geico restart zone. Jeffrey Mathis, gases are up here. Once again, green flag is back in the air. We've got 23 minutes left in the race. Should bring us about 27 laps. Mathis and Guy are the 8 and 8 working together. Then side by side between Gross and Leach. Side by side between Metler and Neerman. Or Hewer, rather. And here comes Leach trying to get a run up on the top side all by himself. The next car behind him is... Apologies.
Got 3 wide for the lead. As 00 Deontay Hewer on the outside. Jonathan Leach in the middle.
Hewer trying to
Jeffrey
take
Mathis.
as much as of a push from the 6 as he possibly can. He knows Clement's been one of the quicker ones all day, but now he's getting stuck up in that middle. Jonathan Leach, the only helper for him. Meanwhile, you've got 4 on top, 4 on the bottom.
These two in the middle need to get a huge run or something. As now it's 3 on top, 3 middle.
Yeah, Blair Russell, the lap car in the 2, jumping out to help the middle line out a little bit. And now down to the bottom goes the 9 of Hewer with the 48 of Leach. Topside having a bit of a moment. I don't know if you guys can see it, but the guy in the 24, his hands are moving up there. He's up into the wall now. That's not the greatest handling race car right now. Let's go ahead and try to jump in and see if we can't see what he's got going on. Smooths it out now, but some of this might be a little bit of a server issue where it's jumping around so much. But he's working in there. Potentially on a controller, but like I said, there might be server issues that make it jump so much. He's holding a super clean line up top, able to run right up next to that wall and right behind that 6 of Richard Clement.
3 wide. Almost 3 rows deep.
Yeah, the only one that's not 3 wide right now is the leader. And Brian Skidmore, who's trailing this pack. Three wide once again. And there's Blair Russell trying to take the lap back the hard way. And we got one in the wall! Michael Hicks hard into the wall with Dylan Canova. Heavy damage on these guys. Looking to see if a caution light is on. I don't see one on yet. We stay green for the time being. But a tough break for Michael Hicks there, getting up into the wall heavily there with Nolan Gross. These guys both slow down the back straightaway. See if we can't try to pull it up here, but the incident didn't register. We stay green up front, though. We've got 10 cars in a pack up front. 9 of them racing for the lead. Blair Russell trying to get the chance to race for the lead with these guys next time if a caution comes out. A huge push to the back of the 2 there for the 8 of Mathis. Gets the 2 a little bit sideways, able to save it, keep it straight, and that noses the 2 out in front. But it, oh, sideways! Sideways is the 9! Jonathan Leach, everybody's involved. That's everybody.
Somebody driving backwards there. It's going to be the 00.
Yeah,
Deontay
Hewer got sideways with the 2. Those guys made contact and he got turned around right in front of the field. That was That was a big one. I mean, that was 10 cars in a pack and 10 cars in a crash right there. So Leach is going to push the 9 up into the 2. 9 almost has it saved and jumps up into the 2 and gets turned around. And well, Brian Skidmore got a very good view of that. Gets through without any contact. We see Johnny James gets through with the lead, but had a little bit of contact getting through there. Let's see what Brian Skidmore saw. Definitely a very sketchy moment there. Take one more look here and Johnny James was lucky enough to be able to kind of bulldoze through there. Didn't get turned super sideways and able to get through A-OK. So comes in to check on that damage, but as long as he's got a fast repair, that shouldn't hurt anything. Obviously, you see that damage being taken care of as soon as he got stopped, and Jonathan Leach gets turned around by Michael Hicks getting into the pits. Potentially a situation of car not ghosting when you thought it would, and it's a tough deal when those guys come together on pit lane. You never like to see it, but Brian Skidmore gets through with the race lead after not hitting anything. The only driver on track to not hit anything that time. I mean, that's crazy. You got 10 cars just packed up like that, and you know, one mistake can really take a toll on it.
Talking about big wrecks on lap 4 in turn 1 of the 2003 April 2003 edition of NASCAR Cup Series race. It saw NASCAR's largest NASCAR Cup Series wreck to date, with 27 cars piled up. Also, another thing to note on in that race was Dale Earnhardt Jr. won his 4th consecutive Cup race at Talladega.
And while you talk about big ones at Talladega, there's he mentioned Cup. There is one, well, there's two, but there's one that's bigger that happened at Talladega in the 2002 Busch race. I think about 12 laps into that one, Scott Riggs got into the back of Johnny Sauter, turned him down, and or no, I think Meal got into Riggs, turned him into Sauter. Sauter goes over, and 29 cars get caught up. Blocked the entire track from grass to outside wall, and there were 11 cars that had driven back around to the front stretch. Everybody else was either involved or had to stop on the other side. That was a good fun fact, Josh. I like that one. The Dale Jr. 4 in a row.
It's the only one to do it.
Only one. Green flag back out into the air. Brian Skidmore holds the lead. The 8, Jeffrey Mathis, looks down to the bonnet to try to take it right away. There might be a bit of damage on the left front of that 8 car. Maybe try to save a fast repair, or well, maybe not. It might just be a flare in the paint scheme, but either way, he's not looking slow, not looking damaged as he gets out and races for the lead. Thomas Geyer on the top trying to give a big push, and there's Johnny James also trying to help out. This guy's getting 3 wide already once again. There goes Matt Mettler to the top side, and contact between him and the 24 of Johnny James. Both those guys able to get through okay, but man, that was a moment there. Thomas
Big
Geyer.
run on the outside.
Yeah, Thomas Geyer with a huge push for the 24. 24 is going to try to get himself cleared down to the bottom. Not enough space. Oh, man, that was almost a huge moment. Brian Skidmore is going to get himself that run back down to the bottom after that bit of a checkup. Looking to be 4 wide coming up off of turn number 2 was Michael Hicks. Looked for a hole there for a second, thought better of it. Now they're back to double file down the back straightaway. Thomas Geyer with a huge push from Johnny James, trying to get that lead, trying to get clear of Brian Skidmore down on the bottom. We've got 13 minutes left in this race session. I mean, it'll be plus 1 lap. We'll keep you posted as we get towards the end here. Dead even up front. These guys have not given an inch. So you see the 24 of Johnny James all over the back bumper. That Bud 8 Thomas Geyer. He's doing everything he can to try to get him out front, but just not enough to combat that 75 of Brian Skidmore with a huge push from Deontay Hewer. But now down the back straightaway, that outside lane looking to get a little bit better. Not quite able to clear that bottom side, and now here comes Richard Clement on the top side. Matt Metler trying to get up there and help.
Just not enough momentum, but a little bit of contact there.
And we've got 11 cars in this lead pack. The only one not on the lead lap is the 76 of Michael Hicks, and he's up there trying to get his lap back the hard way. Tell you what, there is something to be said about going out and passing guys, especially when you're not on the lead lap. I respect it. As long as he doesn't, get up in there and cause a problem or something, I'm all for it. As you see a little bit of a bump there from Ryland Neerman to the back of Mathis. Sideways there, getting up into the corner was Geyer. A little bit of a reaction you saw to the 24. That's going to slow that outside lane up considerably. Let almost the top 3 get clear, and here comes Hewer. Tries to get up in front of that middle lane, tries to get up in front of Geyer. He's going to get up there, see what kind of run he gets across the start-finish line. Skidmore leads that lap, but these guys are all over each other.
Oh, spin!
Reggie Jensen gets into the back of Blair Russell. Russell is able to save it, but Mathis does not. Mathis gets turned around. A similar deal it looked like from the Blair Russell deal, but that's going to bring out yet another caution flag as we approach 10 minutes left in this session. Let's go back and take a look. You see the orange car on the inside right behind that Miller Lite 2. That'll be the first thing we take a look at. It'll leave our screen here when Mathis gets his bump, but the 91 gets into the back of the 2 car, gets him sideways, and there's a phenomenal save by Blair Russell. And then just another bit of a bump from the 16 into the 8, and just getting up on that transition, he can't turn it, gets into Matt Metler, and Metler hits the wall pretty hard. It's a tough break for Matt Metler too, who's got to come in and more than likely make a pit stop. As you see the sparks are falling off the right front there. He's got no turn. Johnny James out front right now. Yes, just under 5 minutes now left in this race, actually.
Well, I have one more fun fact for you.
Lay it on me.
And we can't talk about fun facts at Talladega without talking about Dale Earnhardt Sr. I can think of a couple of other guys, setting record with wins at other tracks. Jimmy Johnson with 10 at Dover. Jimmy Johnson also having so many wins at Texas, whatnot. 10 wins for Dale Earnhardt Sr. at Talladega. As hard as this track is to drive, Dale Sr. had 10 wins. In fact, his 76th and final NASCAR Cup Series career win came here at Talladega in October of 2000.
Yeah, and if you haven't seen the last 5 laps of that race, go ahead and check that out as soon as we wrap up here, because watching Dale go from, what was it, 17th to 1st in 4 laps, it was something
You
to
know,
see.
I'm a little bit too young to remember that. I have seen it, but I don't recall. It was from quite a ways back to get to the front.
The lights are still on the pace car here. We'll double check our time here. We've got 3 minutes left in the session. I want to say we could get going for a green-white checker here. I don't want to say this ends it.
And lights are off.
Lights are off. So yeah, these guys trying to get out here for a green-white checker. So we'll try to keep an eye on that flagman stand when the white flag comes out, and I might have to do the unthinkable of popping my timing screen on a couple more times just so I can see if it's the white flag, but gotta make sure you guys are aware of when we're racing for the lead here. I believe we're gonna have 3 laps to go. Brian Skidmore is the leader, and I will say a caution will end this race. Brian Skidmore holds the lead over Deontay Hewer, Rylan Neerman, Johnny James, Thomas Geyer rounds out the top 5. Green flag back in the air. Skidmore holds the lead right now over Hewer, but Neerman, James, not too far behind. Side by side, outside of the top 5. The top 4 getting lined up, trying to make a run for this finish.
I think Johnny James, he does not want to hold back at all. He goes all the way to the outside, 3 wide for second place.
3 wide indeed. That inside lane is more than likely going to be where you want to be just because they've got the help. But the whole rest of the pack has now just jumped up on this top 4. We're looking at 2 laps to go, I believe. And we've got contact. Around goes Hewer. Hard into the wall. Is that going to do it for us? The caution is out. That's gonna go ahead and end this race. Brian Skidmore should be your race winner. We'll go ahead and double check as these guys come to the finish line to pick up the pace car, but take a look and see what happened to bring out that caution. We saw the 9 of Hewer get turned sideways. Gets up in front of James, and James gets up under him, turns him down into Mathis, and you see Geyer's involved, and Claire Russell.
Nice heads-up driving there, I noticed, by Jonathan Leach in his number 48. I've noticed he's been doing a great job at making sure and keeping his car as clean as he possibly can after using up, I believe, all of his fast repairs.
Yeah, that's kind of my strategy there. Just slam on the brakes and hope you can get around it before it comes down in front of you. Well, these guys are coming through under caution, and I'm not totally used to iRacing sessions ending on time. So I guess we'll look to see if we get a checkered flag here. Still a yellow waving.
I'm seeing about 2.5 minutes left. I would think if they...
Whoa!
Oh, wow!
The 91 just came and sideswiped Brian Skidmore. Not sure what that was about.
Well, I was going to say, I think that if they get the 1 to green here, we may see a green-white checkered. That happened, and the lights on the pace car did go off, so we are 1 to green.
Let's take a quick look here. He just came up and sideswiped him, took himself out in the process. Well, lights are out on the pace car. Apologies for my misinformation on the last restart there, but well, we'll see if that affects Brian Skidmore here on the restart. The 24 of Johnny James is, well, we've seen that he's not one that wants to lift. He's more than likely going to take advantage of that as soon as he can. Rylan Neerman also up front here in the 3rd place. Jeffrey Mathis with a chance at this. Richard Clement rounding out your top 5. Dylan Canova, Jonathan Leach, Nolan Gross, Michael Hicks, Matt Metler, and Thomas Geyer are the final ones on the racetrack right now. So, gonna give it another go here. We've got one more restart. Green flag is out. Racing once again, and a big jump by their big jump by Skidmore. I would have to say that's probably not good for him, but Johnny
I could
James,
be wrong, but this might be the green and white together.
we'll keep an eye on that. Hard into the wall goes the 6 of Clement. Comes down. Leach has nowhere to go, and into the wall goes the 70 of Canova. Here comes Rylan Neerman to the race lead. Huge push from Jeffrey Mathis. Mathis all over the back bumper, spins out Neerman. Mathis is going to go around. Johnny James gets through side by side with Skidmore. Leach was involved, and here comes Hicks with a chance to suckle up the draft and make a move to the top side. 3 wide for the race lead coming across the line. The checkers are out. Michael Hicks wins the race.
What a finish!
Wow, what a run coming to the finish line there. We're going to have to go back and just redo that lap. There was a lot going on there. So he restarted in 2nd, and a huge run from Skidmore on the initial start. We see a lot going on here in the back. The 70's going to get into the back of the 6 as the 6 moves up to try to make a move. Those two hook together 70 gets hooked on the back of the 24. You see Skidmore get swallowed up. Mathis all over the back bumper of Ryland Neerman. Gets Neerman turned around. Mathis gets on the apron, turns around as well, and the 16 just comes up in front of the field. I mean, obviously nothing he could do there. And here comes the run as these guys are side drafting side by side. 76, Michael Hicks jumps up to the top. He almost had it cleared coming to the finish line there.
I don't know if I just saw what I think I just saw there, but I'm pretty sure that there might have been net code there for Michael Hicks. I think he just went through a car when all that wrecking was happened, and he didn't lose any momentum at all.
And we'll take another look here. We've got I mean, he's way behind everything still at this point. Might have been a little net code there with the 6. Got the 6 sideways. You are absolutely correct. Well, that's the luck of the draw on iRacing sometimes.
Great job there for Michael Hicks. Huge run.
I'm going to go ahead and bring Thomas Geyer in here. It doesn't look like we'll be able to interview anybody else. But hey, Thomas, it's Josh and Liam up in the booth here. You got a copy?
Yes, sir, I do.
Hey, it doesn't look like anybody's going to be available for any post-race interviews in the podium, but we definitely wanted to talk to you about the event you put on here and kind of the finish there. If you were watching, if you were able to see much there.
Oh, yeah. Hold on 1 minute. Let me get out of this racetrack because it's really loud in my ears. Can hear you, Liam. I'm sorry about that.
Hey, no problem. Yeah, we just wanted to talk to you a bit about the event you guys had thrown together and you know, kind of what it was for. Obviously, we had a wild last lap there and a timed ending that was a bit unexpected, but well, first off, walk us through that last restart. What did you see?
Oh, man, I've seen a lot of guys just getting really antsy at the end, you know. It was really hectic, you know, but first and foremost, you know, I apologize for the craziness that happened. You know, it was a good first 13 laps, and then it just got really crazy with the caution after caution after caution, and, you know, we had to keep trying to settle people down. But it was really good racing, though, with some laps. Guys were just, you know, side by side, especially with 3-wide racing. Oh, man. I'm still coming out of it because, man, that was an intense last lap there at the end, especially with them wrecking.
It sure was. I mean, you restarted, I believe, 11th or 12th there on that last restart, and you came home 5th. And Michael Hicks came home with a surprise victory there with the last lap move. I think he was not too far in front of you there. But
yeah, no, congratulations to Michael Hicks. Yeah, he pulled it off, man. It was fun being up there with those guys side by side. Like, some of these guys were really pushing, but they knew throttle control. It's just, you know, with these cars, especially when you get them here at Talladega, you know, anything is bound to happen here at the track.
Yeah, 1000%. But would also like to ask you a bit about, you know, kind of why you threw this event together. Obviously, the Christopher O'Shields Memorial race here at Talladega. Just kind of talk with us a little bit about that.
Yeah, man. So I know Chris. I met him when I moved out to California from North Carolina, and I was in veteran housing with my family. I met him and Matt Medler, who's Psycho Stick and Psycho Marine. They were a pair. Met him on NASCAR 15 on PlayStation.
There you go.
along with Dustin McGee, who put on this event. He couldn't be here tonight. Some computer issues happened, and then personal issues as well. But shout out to Dustin. He did a lot of behind the scenes stuff, getting stuff recruitment together. But yeah, this was thrown for Chris. He was a good person. He loved racing. He was a good dad. You know, he did a lot to his kids. You know, the real person to ask about Chris is Matt, because Matt was there with Chris. Like, those guys lived together. They were two peas in a pod. They served together. And without Matt letting me know, I don't even think this event would have gone on. And that's what we really wanted to do. We really wanted to immortalize and, you know, basically give him a send-off, you know, from the racing community side, because he was a part of the racing community side for a while there when he was racing.
Well, that's awesome, man. That's truly a beautiful sentiment, and I mean, yeah, that's touching. It was a really amazing event. I mean, there was phenomenal racing. Obviously, we had some cautions, and the issues we had at first shortened the time we were able to do things. But I was really happy to be able to be part of this event, and
yeah, we appreciate you guys coming on board. Like I said again, sorry for all the cautions. After cautions, it got wild there for a minute, and we had to boot some people, but
it's the way it goes sometimes.
You know.
Don't worry about it.
I said that they had fun. They were like, "Hey, don't worry, we're having fun. This is the coolest event we've ever been a part of. You know, having fun. You know." So that was the main thing that counted tonight. Everybody out and came. Everybody came out and had a good time.
Yeah, awesome stuff. That is indeed the most important thing. Josh, I know I kind of railroaded that, but was there anything you wanted to add or jump in?
Not really sure. Just you know, I had a blast up here calling this race. And, thanks to everybody that put this on.
Oh yeah, like I said, thank you guys for broadcasting it for us. You know, we really appreciate that.
Yeah, of course. Well, that's gonna do it for us here at. I suppose we'll go through the results here, let you guys know where your favorites finished here. But appreciate you joining us up in the booth here, Thomas, and thanks once again for throwing this event together and having us out for it.
Yeah, again, you know, for me, Dustin, and Matt, we appreciate you guys broadcasting it, and we appreciate everybody coming out tonight and having fun. And hopefully we could have some more fun and getting you guys to broadcast some more races down the road.
I'm certainly down. We'll catch you next time. Thanks, Thomas.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
That was Thomas Geyer, the last admin on for the series that threw together this race. And so yeah, we'll run through your finishing order here. That's the wrong thing there. Apologize. Michael Hicks pulls off a surprise win there at the end with a phenomenal last lap pass over Brian Skidmore and Johnny James. Congrats to Michael Hicks on that, and Skidmore and James on the podium. And we've got Richard Clement, Thomas Geyer, Dylan Canova, Nolan Gross, Matt Metler, Rylan Neerman, and Jeffrey Mathis rounding out our top 10.
And finishing in 11th, last car on the lead lap is Jonathan Leach. 4 laps down, Deontay Hewer in 12th, Blair Russelli in 13th, Reggie Jensen finishing 14th. Thomas Johnson finishes 15th, and 16th going to go to Terry Mellum, 17th to Chris Tidy, 18th to Todd Martin. Perry Gammon finishes 19th, and Ronnie Derrick finishes 20th.
And as we jump to the tail end of the field here, 21st was Blake Vandenboom, Trenton Murphy in 22nd, Paul Ems 23rd, Greg Snellgrove 24th, Mark LaPierre in 25th, Brandon Dennis in 26th, Patrick Rochadell, your pole sitter, finishes at 27th, Eli Raposa in 28th, and your final finisher of the day, Louis Altamiller in 29th. Kevin Weiss is listed there but did not make the start. But yeah, that will about do it for us here at SRM. I appreciate everybody tuning in, sticking around with us through the technical difficulties, and enjoying some good racing. 106 laps down at Talladega. Michael Hicks comes away with the win. That was a good show. We'll catch you guys next time.